10 years ago, one man's inspirational return to motocross would end up changing the sport forever. Doug Henry returned from a broken back to pilot Yamaha's prototype motorcycle with historic results. This is how that came to be.
My first year in the 250, or the Premier Supercross class, I had won a race out in Dallas, and I went to Mount Morris and I won the overall there. So I was kind of on my way to winning a 250 national championship. And at Budds Creek, Maryland, I made a little mistake on this one section of the track, and I tried to go faster than I normally did on another section to try to make up the time, and I lost control of my motorcycle. I jumped too far. I landed the motorcycle, but the impact was too much, and I broke my L1 vertebrae, just kind of burst it. When I went to renew my contract for '96, they really didn't have a spot for me. I don't think they felt that I'd be able to come back to winning. And mentally, I was at the top of my game mentally. I knew what it took to win races, and I knew that if my body could come back, then I'd be able to get back to winning again. So I had made a call to Yamaha, to an old friend at Yamaha, and he was surprised to hear me call, but he, kind of let the people know that I was interested in coming back to Yamaha, and they called me and we set up a deal, and I've pretty much been with them ever since. '97 was a questionable year because when I went to go sign my contract at the end of '96, they asked me if I wanted to ride a four-stroke, and in those days, four-strokes weren't really much for race bikes. They were more for trail bikes. So when they approached me with that, I was just thinking to myself, I just struggled so hard in '96. Now I'm going to get thrown into a bike that's never been ridden and never been raced, and I'm going to have to try and win on this thing. I just wasn't looking forward to another struggling year. I thought about it. It was going to be a full works machine, which means that it's going to have all the trick parts, and there's not many rules to this motorcycle. So I thought that'd be a really neat thing to say that I had a full works ride, which they don't really allow those motorcycles anymore. So I decided to do it, and I got on the bike for the first time. I went over to Japan and rode the bike, and I just kind of fell in love with it. It was a lot of fun. There were some advantages to the four-stroke and disadvantages to the four-stroke. It was great as far as straight line speed, but the handling of it, we didn't quite have that figured out just yet. It was a lot harder to ride for 30 minutes than a two-stroke. And we had done more testing with it, and I wanted to go racing with it right away, but they said, I wanted to race the Supercross series on it in '97, but it wasn't going to be ready till halfway through the '97 season. The outdoor series was going to start again, where I was going to premiere this four-stroke motorcycle. And the week before was the final round of the Supercross. We all decided that we were going to race the final round in Vegas, and it couldn't have went any better. I went out and won my heat race, and won the main event. I whole-shotted the races, and the first time a four-stroke has ever won a heat race and won a main event. So it was really big. I didn't realize the impact it had on the industry until probably a couple months later. In the following year, it was huge. It just changed racing. It was nice to kind of be a part of it. '98 was good. We were back on the production four-stroke. We were kind of still struggling on the Supercrosses. The Supercross season, I raced it, and we realized on the soft, ruddy tracks, the four-stroke was just a handful. And by the time we got back outdoor, we had made a lot of changes on the motorcycle, and I was able to get the bike handling better, my conditioning was better, and we won a lot of races and won the championship.
Henry, of course, is one of the most heartwarming stories of the year. Not only did he come back to Supercross from the broken back injury, but he came back to win 2 races and lead the points.
Doug has since retired from racing and lives on a farm in Connecticut with his wife and 2 kids. For a more in-depth look at his inspirational career, watch for our full special, Determination, the Doug Henry Story, coming in the fall.